topics as far as MRCP part 1 is concerned. So when it comes to arrhythmia is basically a arrhythmia. So any deviation from the normal rhythm. So we know that what is normal rhythm. So normal rhythm is a sinus rhythm in which P is followed by QRS or QRS is preceded by a P wave. So this pattern should follow, and this then comes the T wave, and so this PQRS association is what defines a normal sinus rhythm. So that means whichever is not sinus, that is a non-sinus rhythm, and that non-sinus rhythm is abbreviated as arrhythmia. This is just the definition, but then when we have to understand why rhythm is produced, only then we can understand how arrhythmia is produced. So when we were reading about the electrical impulse generation in the myocardium, so we started with the SA node. So we know that SA node produced a P wave. Then was a delay. Then there was a delay at the AV nodal level. Then comes the this Purkinje bundle and ventricular contraction and then repolarization. So that means theoretically, if SA node gets competitively challenged by some other muscular or cardiac muscle which starts to fire, then we can have some other source of impulse generation which would then follow the trigger as we discussed last time, as the cycles parked in the parking hood. So one cycle falls, then all of the cycles will follow the trail. So having said this rhythm can be, fast rhythm, or it can be a slow rhythm. So fast rhythms are usually known as tachyarrhythmias, and the slow rhythms are known as bradyarrhythmias. Why are we even trying to read them or understand them? Not only from examination point of view, but from a clinical perspective also, any deviation from normal sinus rhythm would disturb the cardiac cycle. And when I say about cardiac cycle, the only point I'm trying to make here is the filling and emptying of the four chambers, that is LA, LV, RA, RV. So they all contract in tandem, that is one after the other. That LV will contract after the LA does. So if arrhythmia occurs, the whole cardiac cycle is thrown into a disarray, and the contraction also goes into a disarray. So the LA might be contracting at the same time when LV is contracting, so that means they are not helping anything. Or the LA may forget to contract totally, like it happens in atrial flutter and atrial fibrillation. Or the left ventricle may not be contracting but only producing electrical impulse, as is seen in ventricular tachycardia and ventricular fibrillation. So we have tachyarrhythmias and bradyarrhythmias. So tachyarrhythmia is defined as any rhythm which is faster than 100 beats per minute, and bradyarrhythmia is anything which is slower than 60 beats per minute. As far as the origin of the arrhythmia is concerned, we can classify them, supraventricular, that means beginning somewhere above the ventricular level, or it can be a ventricular. So if anything is originating in atria or in the AV node, this arrhythmia will be supraventricular, and ventricular is, self-explanatory in its own way. Then comes, as far as the arrhythmias can be classified as far as the duration of the QRS. So if the QRS is like this, or it is like this. So this is a narrow complex rhythm. This is a broad complex rhythm. If it is associated with tachyarrhythmia, then it will be known as narrow complex tachycardia. If it is a broad complex, then it is called a broad complex tachycardia. And then the another classification still is more of the history oriented, that is episodic or persistent. So episodic is known as paroxysmal, like SVT. When SVT is happening, intermittently, it is called PSVT. And if it is regular rhythm for last 3-4 days or maybe 1 week, then we call it a chronic or a persistent arrhythmia. This is when the rhythm is being generated by somewhere else and then it is followed in a rapid succession by a fast heart rate or maybe slower heart rate. But then there is another kind of arrhythmia where the conduction itself is not happening. So those are known as heart block. As the word goes, the rhythm will be slower rate, the rate will be slower, and the rhythm will be heart block. So these are the basic classifications, that it can be supraventricular or ventricular, it can be narrow or broad, it can be persistent or paroxysmal, or it can be a heart block. So how does these originate? We've already discussed in the context of just understanding them. So broadly, they can arise from three basic origins, or they can have all three can combine together to evolve into an arrhythmia. So one is obviously abnormal impulse generation. That is, a focus is there which is generating enough strong impulse to throw adjacent myocardium into a rhythm. So abnormal impulse generation. Second is abnormal pathways. So this is SA node, this is AV node, this is his bundle Purkinje. So let us say if there is an accessory pathway which goes directly into this impulse travels directly or bypasses the original route, then this is abnormal conduction pathway or aberrant conduction. So it is called aberrant conduction, usually seen in WPW syndrome. Or, sorry, either there is a disturbance of the normal conduction pathway or there is a abnormal conduction. So that means, let's see the second one again. So that means there is a defect in the conductance of the normal pathway. Like, there is a disease which has affected the AV node, or there is a disease like coronary artery disease of the right coronary artery, which supplies SA node, SA nodal artery in 80% of the people derives from RCA. So let us say some process which has disturbed this symmetry, so leading to arrhythmia. So either there is an abnormal impulse generation or there is an abnormal conduction in the normal pathway, or the pathway itself is abnormal. There are three pathways which are usually seen. And then there are certain risk factors where we see that, what all can produce all the above three changes in the impulse conduction. So there can be ischemia, like I told you, there can be a right coronary artery ischemia leading to lesser perfusion of the SA node, or it can be a degenerative infiltrative pathway like a myelioidosis, fibroelastosis of heart. So all these things, they can slow down the conduction in the normal pathway. Then structural or aberrant pathway, as is seen in WPW syndrome, or it can be a congenital problem. Can anyone tell me? Now this question has appeared in exams, and so everybody should be aware of it. Congenital AV block is seen in infants to which mothers? Say again. Congenital AV block is seen in the infants born to mothers having which condition?
SLE. SLE.
Wonderful. So this question has appeared in examination many times. So they will just tell you a story that there is a child who has been brought with bradycardia. So this child, when ECG was done, has complete heart block. So what is the relevant history that you need to see? or maybe they can be on certain anti-tubercular drugs. So which anti-tubercular drugs can induce SLE?
Pyrazinamide.
Pyrazinamide. So hydralazine is one. Hydralazine is one drug. Then I think isoniazid. Yeah, isoniazid is the drug, which can do that. All right. So these mothers can, deliver children with AV block or complete heart block. So that occurs, that is congenital. All right. Then